March 3rd, 1859. I woke up to the sound of a rooster crowing and rain pouring down on the roof. I put on my clothes and headed down to the kitchen where my father and my older brothers were eating eggs and cooked bread from last night's dinner. I spied a pile of weapons on the "Good morning, father," I said. "Good morning," my father replied. I took a plate from the cabinets and sat down in a seat next to my older brother to eat. When I finished eating, my father and my other brothers were arming themselves and storing excess weapons in wooden boxes filled with sawdust. I began to do the same, however. "You're not going with us. It's too dangerous. If I don't come back, ship the rest of the weapons to this address in the letter I have just given you." He handed me a letter. "Do not open this unless I don't come back in 2 weeks. After you ship the weapons, go to New York to live with your aunt. Here are 2 train tickets." "Why can't I go with you, father?" I asked him. "This may be my last battle against the Graybacks." He spat the last word as if it was vile. Graybacks is a derogatory term for Confederates. Then he and my brothers went outside to the rain to load the wagon cart with weapons and ammunition. That was the last time I saw him. August 2nd, 1859. It has been almost 5 months since my father has left. I fear I will have to open the letter he has given me. I have already shipped the weapons, but I have not used the train. August 3rd, 1859. I will open the letter today. When I opened the letter, it was blank for a second. However, when I held it over a candle, words started to appear. My father has used invisible ink. When all the words had appeared, I read the letter. Here is the letter. Then the letter ended and I got up. I burned the letter. I did not understand what he meant by beware of the content. However, I knew I wanted more answers. I will have to. August 4th, 1859. I locked up the house and went to the train station. Then I got in the train and handed the conductor my ticket. He stamped it and went along the aisle. I fell asleep on the train after looking out the window. August 5th, 1859. I have arrived in New York. There are so many new sights. However, I must not lose focus. I must go to 4th and 2nd Street and find more instructions. I walked around New York until I found 4th Street and later found a tree. I looked for the knothole and found it near the roots. Then I reached in and looked around and found a letter and a bag of coins. I looked at the letter. There were only 6 words. Go to the railroad at midnight. I went to the nearby inn and booked a room. After that, I went to explore New York. It is finally midnight and I have gone to the railroad. A shadowy figure gave me another letter. I went back to the inn and read the letter. "Thomas, you must start a new life in New York. Join the army or get a trade. If the Southerners find out you are my son, they will surely kill you. Do whatever you can to blend in and distance yourself from me. Your name is now Tom White. Go back to the railroad at midnight tomorrow to receive your papers if you need to get out of this country. You are the last hope for our family. Survive. John Brown." August 6, 1859. Today I will try to find a trade in the city, such as being a cooper or a blacksmith. Then I will go to the railroad at midnight to receive my papers. It is midday and I still have not found a trade available. If I do not find a trade soon, I will have to join the union. I have received the papers and hid them in a drawer that has a secret bottom. If I need to flee the country, I can do so with these papers. August 20, 1859. I have made the decision to join the army. I checked out of my inn and went to the army training grounds at 7:15. I serve under Brigadier General William S. Rosecrans. I was given a package which contained a water canteen, a Union uniform, and a compass. I will not be able to write much in this journal as being in the army is hard work. We awake at 5 o'clock and practice shooting targets. Then we eat breakfast. After that, we run around the camp before lunch. At lunch, we clean guns and wash dishes and clean out houses and other menial work. Finally, we eat our dinner. After dinner, we are allowed to do as we wish. 2 years later, we have finally been shipped out to Virginia to fight the Graybacks. We are stationed at Clarksburg until further. September 10th, 1861. I fought my first skirmish against the vile Confederates at their camp. There were people dying in the battlefield and many others wounded. I wounded many of their soldiers, however, did not have the heart to kill any of them. We were losing, however, our canyons won them over and caused the Graybacks to retreat. I overheard my superior officers calling it the Battle of Cards. When I got back to camp, I played cards with the cook and won some money. Then I went to the mess hall to eat some desiccated vegetables and embalmed beef. Desiccated vegetables and canned beef. Then, September 11th, 1861, we began to move towards Loudoun County to merge with Brigadier General Charles Pomeroy Stone. We walk and march for a long while, horses pulling wagons filled with information, pots, and pans. Each man has to carry his own rifle, along with a heavy pack filled with all his belongings and some more pots and pans. September 25th, 1861. We have arrived in Loudoun County and we have met up with Brigadier General Stone. Then we set up our tents and cleaned ourselves in the riverbank. After that, we came back to the camp. However, when we came back to the camp, the cook told us there was not enough food. So we had to beg for food for the other soldiers or hunt. To save our honor and dignity, we chose the latter. I came up with the idea of fishing in the river and we could hunt small game by the riverside using our rifles. Our group split into two, one who would fish and the other to hunt. I chose to fish as it was easier. However, we only got small baby fish in the beginning. While the other soldiers threw the small fish back, I thought up of the idea using the small fish as bait. Soon I began to reel in bigger fish. When the soldiers saw the catches I was taking, they stopped throwing away the little fish and began to try using them as bait. We caught enough fish for our regiment and brought the fish back for the cook to make us a nice, thick, heartening chowder. When the cook finished making our chowder, he signaled to us by hitting a special gong he supposedly got from the Orient. Our regiment ran to the mess hall to feast on chowder. September 27th, 1861. We have received contraband, escaped slaves that are willing to fight for us. I volunteered to train them with weapons. There were a total of 7 free men. They stated they were all brothers and they took the name freemen as is traditional for escaped slaves. I got some uniforms for each of the brothers and I gave them a standard pack and a rifle. I trained and drilled them for an hour, then I gave them advice and sent them off to October 21st, 1861. We were fighting the Graybacks again today. We had to cross the river in small groups as there were little men who could swim and much less boats. The Confederates picked us off and slaughtered us. They were killing us in rows and groups. However, 6 of the 7 freemen were almost captured, however they escaped. We have many dead and much more wounded, captured, and away without leave. Most of our men are beginning to move back to Maryland and back to our cities. It is a long way march to, and I won't be able to write much. The Brigadier General called this battle the Battle of Ball's Bluff. 1 year and 2 months later, January 1st, 1863. The President has issued something called the Emancipation Proclamation. It states that all slaves in the Confederate area are to be freed. Finally, the Civil War has made results. If my father was still here, he would be proud. Although the war is not over, I will stop this journal as there are no more pages left. Thank you for reading my life's journal. Yours truly, Thomas White, formerly Thomas